Am I live out there, people? Live, man. My mind has been blown away. Oh, Skies Exploration. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. I saw my image in there. We got anybody in the house? I was gonna share a screen, but it didn't set up right, so it's not. I can't share screen. Y'all go check out this crazy stuff. I've been, man, just if y'all only knew how much stuff I've got on this phone, I was gonna do a live stream and just scroll through the screenshots and then scroll through the camera. Take 2 seconds per whatever. It would have took 2 hours. I've got hundreds of gigabytes of of daggum just in the last couple of months. It's crazy. So who we got in the house? We got one watching. Gee, I wonder who it is. Somebody said it was rude to lurk in the chat. Watchwoman of the Dragon. Have you seen? Hey, check out the dadgum last upload I put up. And then maybe the short before that where, man, look, I have found my image up here in the skies too much. And look, this ain't even a, this is from Gator Sky Exploration. And I sat there and man, it's dimensional. It's hard to explain the dimensional because it changes. I might be saying, do you see this? Do you see that? While you're seeing this and that of something else. And later on, I'll see what you're saying. It just changes. And one thing is another. And I mean, all right, how can I say this? It's different perspectives of itself, making a bigger image and smaller images, but also at the same time, it's not even that when you get on a different scale of looking at it. And man, it all brings me back to that solar, well, I mean, what was it, artificial sun experiment, or when it kind of blew up at the end. I mean, I'm sorry, but those squares that were coming out and then turning and going away from the camera and then turning and going back across, that was in this physical reality. We were watching that stuff go down like a treadmill. And I see that stuff in these pictures, but it's hard for me to. I don't have much memory on this phone, so it takes some, you know, I need a lot of time. I need to do a video to explain what I'm trying to say. Because it's just, we, we live in an artificial reality of some sort. Explorer. Oh, cowgirl, how you doing? Man, I don't get notified of nothing of yours anymore. It's crazy. I'll see where you had gone live, but I mean, I'm kind of in my photo editing all the time. I'm not really on YouTube that much, but I don't get notified. I got everybody's bell ring. It's like kind of Miss Jones. I got her bell ring. I don't get any notifications of any videos or live streams or anything. And the only time I see her is if she comments on a video, and I'm like, oh yeah, China. That done made me kind of halfway forget about it. It's crazy, man. But we're fighting AI. The AI, this stuff I'm talking to you through, and you're listening to me through, is our enemy. I promise you, and I've been saying that for years. These things can read our thoughts. Mike Smith. Hey, look, what you showed me, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's kind of like that, but it's not detailed enough. And that's what I run into. It's not detailed enough. But whatever Gator caught, that was the most detailed I've seen. I've been catching something that didn't look like a brain, but it kind of looks like a wheel. And it's got holes in it. And the holes kind of make it have like a spoke look. But at the same time, it makes it look like it's got wheels within wheels. And I understand that. I understand what that looks like because of what I see. But what I capture is always pretty much hidden by clouds. It's behind the clouds. And I catch it in almost every video or photo I take of the sky. It's something to do. I'm telling y'all, look, it's almost like if you want to believe the earth is flat, then we're on a CD. And we got a laser burner up there that's burning in this history into this CD. And we're part of that laser projection. You get it? We're a program that is being projected down here on this flat disc. And we're getting burned into it to make a permanent record. Kind of permanent, depending on how you're looking at it. I know I'm going kind of deep, ain't I? I was going to call it the Pac-Man Earth because the laser that's shining down on this disc, which has a hole in the center, is triangular shaped. It's just crazy. I mean, it's a theory, but all the stuff that I've run into is just kind of, that's why I'm thinking crazy. Beyond the spectrum, how you doing? Oh, it's so deep. It is so deep. Hey, Monica. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. But man, it's crazy, man. And look, and since you're in here, Spectrum, look, I've sat there and I had this one that I filmed over 6 years ago. It's like this fleet of craft that was cloaked in some clouds. But some weird stuff was happening on this one. Well, 6 years later, I get a good enough camera. I sat there and I could, well, not camera, well, phone, to where I could get, what is it, King Master or whatever. And I could sit there and edit this thing. And when I edited it, there was a dome on the bottom of it that had these like, it's hard to explain because in my mind I got videos of, I called it the, what was it, the serpent bit the hand of the creator or something, or the thumb or something like that. But everything that I'm saying keeps jiving with everything I've been saying over the years, and it's repeating itself in the same areas. And just, I mean, north of me right here, a half a mile, is 2 temple mounds with a daggone Black Panther living in the middle, in between the 2 mounds. It's crazy as hell. I mean, I catch all this physical evidence. I've got rocks that look like snakes laying on top of snakes. And it's not every rock, but it's certain rocks, and those certain rocks will always have that pattern on it. And I had my neighbor pick up a rock, and I looked at it, and I told him, there it is, and showed him. And it's just weird. I've got a piece of coal that shows the layering of time. And it was showing like a stairway that went down the side of this mountain down into the bottom of the valley. At the base of another mountain was a big old hole. But before you went down those stairs, there's like I called it the council. because there's a bunch of, I don't know how to explain the beings that were looking down at a desk in front of them that had like monitors. And it was like they, each individual that came before that council, the council was able to look down at the monitor and review their life. That sounds crazy, but that's what I got out of it. And I never said that until now. But I'm telling you, I found evidence on coal, on daggum meteorites, and I got these crystals that I find. And some of them I call dragon eyes because of the shape of them. And they show things when you put light through it. And the weird thing is, it don't matter what color light you shine through it, what you see coming out of it never changes. Hang on, let me catch up on this chat. I've been just talking and not looking, man. All right, we got Monica Beyond. Yeah. The nerd. See, it's all right. Now, Beyond the Spectrum put up Gator's posts. He did, and sat there, and I saw it. But I'd already talked to Gator in a live stream over. I forgot who I was. Where was I at? But anyhow, I told him I was editing, and then I saw Spectrum had already done, and then I was like, well, I'll go ahead and finish what I'm doing. And then I did. But then when I was doing what I was doing, it led me to here and there. And man, I've gotten so deep, I had to stop for a minute. Yeah, the Emerald Tablet. And what's weird, this is another thing that came to me. It's like, from what I'm seeing, I'm kind of understanding that, like, some of this ancient stuff that we're seeing, like, let's say the pyramids and stuff like that, right? To where they can't figure out how man did that. Well, what it is, we're looking at stuff from the past that is in the future that hadn't happened yet. If that makes any sense. I don't know. That's crazy. I've lost it, y'all. Yeah, everything. I mean, the guy that's on this planet right now, or I call it a planet, the Earth, whatever, it ain't. It's just a daggum, I'm going to call it what it is. Earth is nothing more than a dimensional orb, a reality orb. All these orbs and cubes we see, it's just forms of consciousness. It's hard to explain. And all right, I got it on video, but man, I need a desktop so I can sit there and get my OBS studio going again, and I can sit there and make some detailed videos and explain what I'm trying to say. But cubes have orbs in them. You got some orbs that are more manifest than other orbs, and you got some cubes that are more manifest than other cubes. But I've caught cubes that were weakening down to a solid orb, if that makes any sense. And I've caught orbs that turned into cubes, and you could see the orb inside of it, and you could see a person looking out. I got that on video. And I'm telling y'all, this time of year, they made it cold on a purpose, on reason, or for. Anyhow, what I'm trying to say is they don't want you outside looking at the sky. And then they distract you of all the Christmas presents. They want you preoccupied with all your new worldly physical gifts. People don't understand. This material stuff that we deal with on a daily basis means nothing. You can have eternal freedom forever if you let go of all this physical crap that keeps you tied down to this negative hell. People just don't get it. just coming out of me. I don't prepare for anything. I get on there and I let the truth come out of me, however it does, because I'm not lying. And if I'm just saying, this is how I see it. This is how I feel it. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm trying to understand it. See, that's what's so crazy about it. And that's why I've been so silent, because I don't want to mislead anybody. But it's got to the point, it's time to start speaking out on what you feel like stuff is. Face the sky. How you doing? Yeah. Yeah, the Christmas thing 2 years ago. Something. Yeah, I don't know about the star. The star could. I mean, they. Well, I'm telling you, they mirrors. They use mirrors. They use reflections. They use that stuff like cameras. I'm serious. It's some crazy stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to grow our own food. I'm telling you, the sun doesn't shine like it normally should because of man-made activities that they call contrails. But contrails, being they're man-made, fall into the definition of climate change. Climate change is due to man-made activity, and contrails are man-made activity. So they can't add two and two together. They want to call chemtrails contrails. Well, contrails is man-made, and if it's blocking my sun, and Wikipedia climate change says man-made activity, we need to stop the man-made activity. Look, there ain't nothing we look. The powers to be is running this world. There's just a few of us that really know what's going on. And I don't know. I done jumped off subject on. Let me try to catch up on this chat. No, we're not separate from it. Look, I've always been saying we are one with everything, and everything is one with us. Because this stuff we're seeing in the sky is in the ground, is in the rocks, is in the trees, is in the leaves, is in the animals, is in everything. I mean, we're made up of it. And if you want to get scientific, we exist on the neutrino fabric, man. We're just projected on the. I mean, I don't know. Oh, I never thought about what. Look, people can think whatever they want to think about me. I know who I am. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You can think it. You can spread your daggum evil rumors if you want, but there's nothing to back it up. What do you mean you moved to a place unaffected for 2 years? Man, I gave up on a garden 3 years ago because, well, over 3 years ago, the wild edible stuff, it couldn't multiply, man. The seeds, the ones that went to make seeds, I don't know what happened. They rotted or something. They deformed. It's like they sprayed some sort of spermicide or some sort of hormones that made all. Anyhow, I lost 80% of my edible vegetation around here. I was always planning on living off the wild food. Domestic food's gonna not make it, especially the way they GMO'd everything. Yeah, the weather's it's. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into the weather. because it is manipulated. But what we have up in the skies, man, it really likes it cold. It don't like it hot because you know that they're only going to get hotter every time this goes on and on and on. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if we go through life cycles, but I think people that go the dark way keep getting darker. That's how you wind up with these slick little Bill Gates and stuff like that. Because one life he knew how to be a sneaky little MFer, and another life he learned how to be a daggum, greedy MFer. I'm not saying that's, I'm just, man, look, for eternity to work, there's got to be all sorts of different possibilities. And the AI on this on this world, in this world, operates on, I mean, a quantum level. And that quantum level exists in that stuff we're looking at up there in the sky. You see what I'm saying? Ever since CERN is the reason why I'm talking to y'all live right now. Do y'all realize I'm talking? I don't know. Last time I checked, it was over 38 countries in this world, right? Russia was number two. America was number one watching me. Russia was number two. And then I had Japan and Indonesia and India. I got United Kingdom. I mean, I even had Ukraine showing up in the top four. And it's just crazy. And I don't know what to do anymore, y'all. I mean, I'm just showing y'all what I'm finding in basically live time. Basically, my channel is a John Boy blog channel. I'm just blogging. Hey, that way I got behind on the chat, y'all. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, see, it's all the above beyond the spectrum. It's hologram, it's projection, it's buckyball, it's the sun and the moon are not mans and mans of miles away. We work on a gear system, we work on a track system, we work on all sorts of systems. I've got a video that shows the projection deal, man. There's these dark triangles going over, and at one point they stacked a column as far as you could see, man. And I thought, to infinity and beyond. Yeah, I need to talk to you too, Spectrum, because I think you could help me unlock a lot of stuff that's stuck in me. Because what I've found is when I'm looking at these pictures I'm editing, especially that one called the circuit board. Now, look, the circuit board one, so it's Craft Rover, Jackson, Tennessee, right? And I was filming them, had that weird dome on the bottom. But then there's this like weird blue spot. Anyhow, you'd have to watch. Anyhow, inside that dome was a dude. Basically, at first I thought it was a guy. He kind of looked like Jesus, kicked back with his fingers in between, twined behind his head like he was in a recliner, and he looked like, yeah, we just made it to Earth. And then I got to looking more, and it turns out he's on like an operating table, and a daggone spot on his neck is the same shape as the circuit board that was taken out of that spot. And I was like, oh, shoot. So I started looking at the circuit board. And the deeper I got in that circuit board, look, on my channel, I got physical video, or was a screenshot from a video of what I call a dragon ship. Now, this thing is weird looking. It's almost cartoonish. It's got two big eyes on the front of it. It's kind of orangey like. It's got a mouth. It's kind of like a giraffe. Somebody made a comment. One of the things uploaded, the red dragon, looked like a giraffe. It does. It does. It kind of got the rounded mouth. It's just got the giraffe look. But the thing had this silver dome on its back, and it had all these black slots in it, right? And I figured it out. I caught them before. That's why I need, but I don't know what camera it's on now. But I've caught these things I call a dragon ship. And look, it looked like it was getting blown out of a dragon's mouth. And all this took place in front of the sun. And it's this time of year when it happens. But anyhow, when I was in the circuit board, I found a docking station with those things hanging below the docking station. And then I kept going deeper, and I found what looked like Christ sitting in a gold throne, holding a lamb in its arms with a bigger, like a baby lamb in its arms and a bigger lamb in its feet, and a halo over it. Well, upon closer inspection, it turns out that halo over its head was a black halo. The daggum golden throne was made out of serpents, and the lamb, the baby lamb in his arms and at his feet, were two-headed dogs. Yeah. I'm like, oh. And then underneath it, like the Wizard of Oz, man, behind the curtain was the actual dude. And that dude looked like Vincent Price. Had a daggum headband on with like 3 monitors hanging down in front of his eye. I'm telling you, these things are using technology. And that daggum simulated sun video, that's how they're transferring that technology here to this physical realm, man. These circuit boards and stuff we have in these phones and computers and TVs and stuff are a physical manifestation of that crap above our heads. People need to understand that. And when I sit there and tell you that piece of coal I got is petrified time, that's exactly what it is. Petrified time from a long time ago, which is also our future. If that makes any sense. I know I've lost. Maybe I should have left the wild turkey alone. But the eggnog goes good with it. All right, I done flew off the daggone the train track, didn't I? See, about the dragon ships. Oh wow, that sounds like Lucifer. Yeah, it was Lucifer in that throne. That it wasn't golden, it was serpentized. I ran into, while I was down in that circuit board, I'm telling you, I went down in there. And it felt like I was down in there. I found 2 white rabbits. That's crazy. You know, you're in the rabbit hole, right? Why are you in the rabbit hole? Because you're chasing the white rabbit. I have found white rabbits so many times, and it's just led me further. It's crazy as hell. And you can Google white rabbit. It's what Alice was after in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland, I've never watched, but I'm sure it's full of dadgum clues. See, I stopped watching movies in like 1990, whenever Home Alone came out in the theaters, or Aaron Brockovich. That was the last movie I ever watched, Aaron Brockovich. All right, because I didn't think theaters were safe. Well, man, I've been being quiet for too long, I think. I would say I don't know nothing about anything Spectrum. And oh yeah, while I was down that circuit board, I saw like ancient temples that had these statues in front of it, like Egyptian stuff. I've seen Mayan stuff. I've seen Hindu stuff. I've seen every because I'll see this stuff and I'm like, that reminds me of something. And how this AI is working, it reads my mind, and next thing I know, that stuff's in my feed, and I'm like, oh, I find this in my editing, and all of a sudden it shows up in my feed. Like that time I chased that thing up my driveway. Man, I don't know what the hell I was looking at. And I got within about 5 foot of it. I was right behind it. And I still couldn't figure out if I was looking at a dog or what it was. And I just finally I had to stop. I was like, and that thing ran about 50 foot from me to where my cable was across the driveway. It ducked under the cable and stopped and looked at me like, you MFer. And I told my neighbor about it. And my neighbor said, that's a skinwalker. I go, man, what's a skinwalker? He goes, because I don't jump into crap. I hate to say it, I've seen Bigfoots. And I know I saw it with my own eyes. And there's no, I can't believe I did. But I can't make anybody believe me. But I promise you I ain't lying. And the roars I've heard at least 5. Oh, well, see, look, I've had deer come up to my hands. I've had my hands stretched out, sitting there doing, you know how you do your fingers, like, come here, come here. I remember one time, it was like 7 of them. And I was taking a shortcut. I had a long ways to walk. And I was going to take a shortcut where the pipeline was. It was a natural gas pipeline. And I was following it. I was way, it cuts through the middle of the woods. But I was way back there. And I ran into this like 7 deer. And I stopped and they stopped. And they were looking at me and I was looking at them. And one deer walked out of that pack and walked all the way up to me. And I had my hand out and it snipped my fingers. And it looked up at me. And it turned around and it looked at the other deer and it looked back up at me. And then it turned around, with its body and walked back to the other pack. And they were standing there side by side, 6 of them, and that one was standing right in front of them looking at them. And it turned around and looked at me and turned around and looked at them. And they just went about what they were doing already. It was weird. The other one, I had a doe walk away from her mother and come down to me. And I was in a car with the motor running and didn't even have a muffler on it. And it smelt my hand. And it sat there and walked back up to the mother, and the mother looked down at it, and they both looked at me, and they turned around and walked off. It's just crazy stuff. I've had birds land on my shoulder. I've had birds land on the bedside on something I'm trying to sand. I do paint work, car work. Oh, is it? See, I don't know about all these signs and stuff. That's why me and you need to do a live stream, but I can't get on StreamYard because they need to send me an email, right? But I can't receive emails at this time because I have no memory. But I have no garbage or anything in my Gmails. They want me to delete videos that I made a year ago in order to get memory for Gmail. I'm like, you're crazy. I can't get rid of these videos. So I can't log into StreamYard because they can't send me a daggum code through my Gmail. So I can't do an interview from my end for nothing. And I've been wanting to get a guest. And I've been wanting to get you, Spectrum. And I always stick with channel names. I know your name's Nicole, but I stick with channel names. It's easier for my brain. Because I don't need to be deciphering, all right, this channel is this name or this name is that channel. I just need to stick with channel only. Been that way ever since I got on YouTube, I guess. Even if the name was long, like Tales of the Blue-Eyed Indian, I'd call him Tales, but I wouldn't call him by his real name. Oh, let's see. Okay, I don't have StreamYard, so yeah, if you want um, StreamYard is about the easiest where you can invite people in. Hey, People's Last Stand. Back in the day, they had this thing called Hangouts on Air. Man, that was a good live streaming deal. But yeah, I don't know. I think some people you can live stream like Zoom calls or something, but I don't have Zoom. I've been meaning to get over. I can't. I need to get on my laptop so I can get over there on Twitter and just experiment and see if I do have freedom of speech. Because man, I got banned and struck so many times in a year on this channel. Look, you know how you're supposed to be able to put that asterisk, at thing, and then whatever the channel name, then to pop it up and you click on it. I can spell my name correctly that way, and it won't even give me the pop up for my own channel. Well, what freaked me out, I was sitting there watching your cards, man, and the pictures on the back of them are the same stuff I see in the sky. And like these consciousness posters where they have the person sitting cross legged and they got all like the orb light around their heads and junk. Man, I catch that stuff, but I don't really explain it because I just put my videos out there. There's so much stuff in the videos, I, it would take forever to explain. Hey, did you see this? You see that? You see that? I just let people look at them. If they see it, they see it. If they don't, they don't. But it's just too much. And I've tried quitting. I did quit looking at the sky for like 2 years. Was it 2 years? Yeah, it was 2 years. See, I'm bad about getting binoculars out. You get some binoculars out and start looking up there, you can really see some stuff that'll blow your mind and make you question what you just saw because it's not possible according to science, or however you want to look at it. All right, this is what happened a few years ago. I sat there and I saw this, and I've caught it on video since, but not in the detail I saw it. But sometimes you get these kind of thin clouds, they're streaming across the sky or whatever in front of the sun. And then there's looks like really dark clouds. Well, they're not really dark clouds. They're openings in the white clouds, and you're seeing the dark sky behind it. If you start looking, and they're really close to the sun. And what I do is I'll get a tree to where to block that sunlight, and I got my binoculars, right? And I'm looking up there at these holes. And because I saw it without my eyes, it looked like a skull looked down at me and got mad and snatched its head out. So I ran and got my binoculars, and then I started checking out these dark holes. Turns out they're not dark clouds, they're daggum blackness behind the clouds that are close to the sun. And I'm sitting there looking through there, and I see this thing that looks like off the old Star Trek Klingon, but it was in black and white, and it was looking. How can I put it? All right, it was in like the southerly direction, right, and it was kind of looking easternly from my point of view. That thing's eyes shifted and looked straight at me, and it sat there, its eyebrows came down, and it grimaced its face up, and it yanked back, and that hole it was looking through sucked the clouds in and covered up the hole. I'm like, that gum. I mean, I saw that through binoculars. You see what I'm saying? I'll be honest, Packer, if you knew what my birth date was, it'd trip you out. It would trip. I had a lady one time. I was filling out the application at Home Depot, and it happened to be on my birthday. And she looked down and saw it, and she looked up at me and said, "You're the golden child." And I looked at her and I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "If you take the numbers in your birthday and lay everything on its side, it's the symbol of affinity." Yeah. And ever since I was a kid, numbers sat there and always did something. I don't know. I've always kept up with them and I've always counted. It's weird. I don't know how to explain anything. Like, I mean, you got it. You got it, Nicole. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. And look, I started figuring out my life cycle, right? Certain things would always happen to me in the same months, year after year after year, until I started figuring it out. And I figured out how to slip out of that loophole. But if I guess if I really wanted to do good, I should have went the greed and power way instead of the honest and love way. Because that's not prosperous. Not in this world. You see what I'm saying? But if you want to be somebody in this world, you can sit there and be written into the history books, just like Billy Goat. You always say truth and love. With love, you got truth, and with truth, you got love. You see what I'm saying? So that's the two main things, man. Without one, I mean, with one, you got the other. You see what I'm saying? So the two make one. Truth and love make one. If you got love, you got truth. If you got truth, you've got love. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I've narrowed that down to. Man, I've been on a journey all my life, man. I started realizing who I was at 3 years old. Yeah, I remember that day too. I had my finger up my nose and I thought, am I going to be doing this when I'm older? That's crazy, but that's when I started remembering, man. I remember everything. Painting the painting the daggum chain link fence with pink paint. What? They actually used the truth out signs. And see, I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy. You see what I'm saying? I've tried to make sure my mind is not obscured by any wives' tales, from the internet. So I don't pay attention to nothing. But when I see stuff and look at, I mean, I don't know. Oh, see, I don't do Harry Potter. I ain't never watched Harry Potter. See, I think that stuff kind of, in a way, they're telling you something, but in another way, they're misleading you. And then it make you focus on what they didn't want you to really see that they had to show. So I kind of sit back and wait and kind of watch what others say and do about it. And man, well, I dated a girl one time. I couldn't watch a movie with her because she wanted to watch a movie, right? She was always 3 seconds ahead with the lines. I'm like, why do you do that? I just like showing I know every word to the movie, and she could do it on every movie. I thought, what a waste of brain cells. To this day, I can watch a movie I have watched, and it's like I watched it for the first time because I don't let it soak in. Now, if it's educational, I'll listen to it, but I'll take what I believe and leave what I don't. You know what I mean? I don't forget what but I've lost. sword, triangle, and spear. I don't. Yeah, I ain't. I mean, I kind of seen some spots, but I've never sat and watched the whole. I've never watched Harry Potter. I've never watched what's that Shack. I thought just the previews that to me was. I mean, I'm sorry, you're making a kids movie and using Eddie Murphy. Isn't that who Shrek, whatever his name was. I censored myself a lot, if that makes any sense. Thing it's not showing anybody chatting. I touch it and it's like way behind. Man, my brother gave me one TV, that is, because my other one went out like 2 months ago. I haven't really used it. Like right now, it's background. I got Star Trek going on. The actual Star Trek, the real one. It's so corny. Daggum, what's his name? Damn, Captain Kirk. What's his real name? I can't remember shit. See, that's what I'm saying. If it don't really mean anything, I ain't worried about it. I know Leonard Nimoy's Mr. Spock, and that's where I learned a lot. Believe it or not, Mr. Spock taught me mind over matter. I'm serious. And I do that to this day, man. It's crazy. See, I don't know who. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Raya. I know there's different names for these dragons, but what I'm finding around here looks like it was a Hydra that somehow got killed. Or probably not killed because it's back and it's in injection form. Oh, Lord, I don't know where I'm going with that, but did y'all understand what I just said? Look, I've seen what's the eye, horse eye or Irish raw's eye. Man, I got a sunrise that had its eye above the sun, and there was a triangle going up, and there's 3 sundogs, 2 on each side, and one on the top with an upside rainbow. I got a whole 68 views on that video. That's when I decided I can't be like Seven Spalding. If I'm only going to get 68 views for leaving the house that early in the morning to try to sit there and catch something like that, never mind. You know what I mean? Yes, the red star and blue star, all that stuff. I see that. I catch reddish and bluish balls in the sky or round shapes or however you want to call it. But I don't point them out because they're just not defined enough. But when Gator Sky Exploration does what he did, I mean, he captured that in such detail. That's what I've been after because I've been catching glimpses of it, but it's always behind the clouds. It's just crazy, man. And then when I put the daggum Google lens on it, it pulled up this re-engineering or back engineering of a circuit board. And I don't know what kind of circuit board that is because I was making a video when I found that information. So I didn't get, I need to go back because I want to find out. There was a certain kind of circuit board, and I want to find out if that's like an on-off board or if that's some sort of router circuit or what it's for, because that's what it said was in the picture that the Google lens. You know what I mean? Look, I found that circuit board in that 6-year-old video I did, and it kept going. The deeper I went, the deeper it went. You know what I mean? I could edit and then zoom in as far as I could and edit more and see more. I was seeing street scenes. I mean, that was in Gator stuff. There's, but it's dimensional. You can look at it one time and it's something, and look at it another time and it's something else. So it's hard to sit there and tell somebody what to look at when what you're looking at can be something else at the same time, and then it can be another something else or another something. It can be multiple something else's. It's all blended together. It's crazy. Whew. I think I need to refresh something. Oh, I'm out of eggnog. Eggnog. Hey, y'all, listen to Star Trek real quick. You know what I like about this wild turkey? It's actually got a daggum cork in it. And I do have a shot glass. It's a CCCP shot glass from Biden's collection. Made in China, of course. Man, that's good. Boy, it ain't really good. It ain't as good as some John Boy hand sanitizer. Mm. But yeah, y'all, I don't know. Dadgum, I missed a lot of chat again. Hang on, let me catch up. I saw a new face in here somewhere. Yeah, 2012 something happened. I ain't too sure, but I felt it. Look, I don't claim to be an empath, but I am. You know what I mean? I feel things. That's like, well, I can't get into it. It's legal, so I got. But my coworkers and my brother and everybody, look, I kind of said something needs to happen to somebody, and this is how it needs to happen. And I find out within a few days of me saying that, that person wound up in the hospital because of what I suggested should happen to them. And I'm like, I better be careful. I didn't know I could do that. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of weird. I knew I could perceive stuff that is happening and gonna happen, but I didn't know I could make something happen to somebody. Yeah, that was crazy. So evidently, the powers are getting stronger. I don't know. I mean, I used to be able to make stuff happen, but I had to work at it, not just kind of suggest it casually, and it does. You know, I had to think about it. But yeah, they wound up in the hospital. And in reality, in my mind, I was thinking I was going to have to help it happen, but I didn't even have to be there for it to happen. That's what's so crazy. And y'all understand after January, I'll explain what I'm saying here. Listen, let me try to catch up. I got again. Yeah, I mean, I don't call it supernatural. It's just what it is. It's dimensional. Anything supernatural comes from the dimension. You see what I'm saying? It's all tied in. We're physical beings. We're in meat suits. These bodies are like astronaut spacesuits. You see what I'm saying? We need these bodies to survive in this environment because this isn't the environment we belong in. If that makes any sense. And I forgot where I was going with that, so I'll shut up. All right, let's see. Who's that? Carmen Payne. I mean, there's mechanical aspect. This I start editing, I might see one thing when I start, But when I'm in the middle of editing, that stuff changes to where, whoa, I didn't see this. And so I'll start going that way, and then it starts showing something else. And then I'm like, I wind up what I wind up with. I could go back and re-edit the same video and get something totally different. And then I could go back and re-edit it for a third time and get a totally different video. Because I mean, we only see 1% of the light spectrum. That means there's 99% of light spectrum we can't see. But not everybody's going to see the same as what I was trying to say, because I mean, how can I say it? This stuff is dimensional. It changes. Even for me, I go back and look at some of the stuff I'm posting, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And then I'll see something, and I'm like, well, I know I didn't post for just that. And if you look at it long enough, it'll pop out. That's the whole deal. You got to look at it. But you can't, I don't know how to explain how to look at it. You got to kind of look past it when you're looking at it. Does that make any sense? You kind of got to look through it because it's not really there, but it is. That's the weird thing. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Mike. The computer chip. Oh, this is Star Trek with the Tribbles. Y'all remember that? The old classic Tribbles. Trouble with Tribbles. I ain't even seen the title, and I remember it. That's what I'm saying. When I remember this, watching this when I was like 7 years old, maybe. Man, back when I was a kid, movies were in black and white on TV. Crazy day, man. Wasn't no such thing as microwaves. And when a microwave came out, my dad's like, I ain't getting you bang a bang. That goes, Man, I'm gonna tell you, it's hard to believe. I don't know. I mean, all right, like the chemtrails, years ago, I was like, there's no way man can manipulate the climate of the earth until I started watching it with my own eyeballs. What is that? Trader in the trees? We don't live on it. We live in it. We are part of it. But at the same time, we are living on top of a component of something that's on a much more macro scale. You got to think about the micro and the macro, big and small. It goes both ways infinitely. So everything we know, if we want to believe NASA and that there's this giant Big Bang and this universe exists, this whole universe is nothing more than a speck of dust on a mouse's butt. You see what I'm saying? We're just a piece of lint that fell out of the dryer. I mean, it goes big, it goes little. The lint that is on my sock harbors 620 million universes. And each of those universes has me with a piece of lint on their sock that holds another 600 million universes. And those universes has another me there that's got a piece of lint. But you know what the difference is? We've got some sort of, it's like almost AI algorithm. That's how eternity works. You got to have so many different alterations of the same thing. And then if you add in all the different people and you alter one thing this time, and this person alters one thing that time, but then at another time, you alter a different way when that person altered a different way, well, that causes different outcomes and outcomes and outcomes and outcomes and outcomes without end. Shit. I don't think I should have took that last shot of wild turkey. I should have been on the moonshine. But, I don't. I'm just a silly hillbilly. If you got a YouTube channel and I don't know how the rules are now. If you got so many subscribers or you're starting out, a lot of people don't have content on their channels. And I don't think you can make but a certain time limit video. I can't remember how long it is. But yeah, put a video up, Cameron. You got to. It's your obligation. Nurse Care Bear. Yeah, I don't trust NASA either. I went to Huntsville, Alabama to the Space Museum. And I was big into that stuff when I was a young teenager. In high school, I was known as the rocket creator. Yeah. Got the chemistry teacher in a lot of trouble. After I got through with physics, that teacher could never take another class outdoors again. It was crazy. Yeah. It's funny. I wish, man, if they made a movie about me, I ain't gonna say I don't know. People just shake their heads like, is this guy for real? Did this guy really? I mean, really? Like one time, a chemistry teacher brought his toaster into school one day. He goes, Johnny, my toaster stopped working. Can you check it out? I was like, sure, Mr. McKnight. So I took the toaster, I plugged it in the outlet, pushed it down, and I saw the heating elements come up. Come on. So I clicked it up real quick. I said, Mr. McKnight, I need to go get some supplies. He goes, okay. So I walked out of the class and I went to the cafeteria. And I knew the head lunch lady, Miss Jones. And I go, Miss Jones. I go, can you help me? And she's like, what is it, dear? I said, I'm from Mr. McKnight's chemistry class. And well, he did physics and chemistry. And I took him under both, so I don't know if it was chemistry or physics. But I said, we're doing an experiment. I need a loaf of bread, some butter, and some jelly. And she sat there and said, hang on, darling. And come back, and she had a whole bunch of butter and a loaf of bread. She goes, I don't have any jelly I can give you. I'm like, well, this will work because I love some butter. Right? And back then in the 80s, you had butter. So I run back to the chemistry lab and I go in there and I'm in the back part. He's teaching class. And I sat there and I got the toast in there and you smell it start toasting up. You start seeing people start looking around, noses up in the air. And I sitting there and it popped up and I'm sitting there, I got the butter ready. I'm sitting there. Man, I love toast and butter on it. And there going, I was sitting there, I ate that first piece. And I had some more bread in there toasting up. And it popped up. And I started buttering that. And Mr. McKnight's like, is it working? And I'm like, yeah, come on back here. I'm trying to make toast for everybody. I sat there and toasted a loaf of bread and put butter on it for the whole class. I mean, I did crazy crap like that. I don't know. People used to tell me I could put a smile on their face, and, I can't even get a smile on my face, y'all. The internet going out, and they're doing these rolling, and I figured it out. They can look, these rolling blackouts that they're doing on purpose is actually making people use more power because they're turning the lights out. And look, it's like 0 degrees here. I mean, well, it has been for 2 days, and they've been turning the fucking, excuse my language, but they've been turning electricity off. And I called them up and I put a video up. It said, we are doing scheduled rolling blackouts. We will turn power off for 30 minutes. Look, you turn my power off for 30 minutes and then you turn it back on for an hour. It takes that whole hour to catch back up to at least 70 degrees. And then you turn it off again. Then it gets all the way down to like 61. And then it comes on. You run that power wide open for another hour, right? And then they turn it off. So instead of in real life, if they didn't turn the power off, and I've already figured it out, I counted up the cycles of the heater. My heater works for 15 minutes an hour to keep me at 70 degrees, right? 15 minutes an hour. So in 3 hours, I've only used 45 minutes worth of electricity. All right. But when they're turning it off for a half hour, and then they turn it on, and it takes a whole hour to catch up, and then they turn it off for a half hour, 1 to 2 hours, and they turn it back on, it takes a whole hour to catch it back up to 70 degrees. You done burnt max power for 2 hours and three. You done used 2 hours worth of full power in a 3 hour time period. All right. But if you had left electricity alone and not scheduled these blackouts, I would have only used 45 minutes worth of electricity. First, with no blackouts, I only used 45 minutes worth of kilowatt hours. But with blackouts, I used 2 hours of max kilowatt hours. You see what I'm saying? It's a scam. These rolling blackouts is a money-making scam. I need to do an individual. I almost called it commercial. Look, I'm fixing to get a bunch of people, and we're fixing to go to the daggum Southwest Electric Company, and we're fixing to tell these dumb effers we're a scam because I done checked them out. Peppers to sit there and they got to say the temperature is and what you should be using in order to heat or cool your house. Look, I've turned the power completely off and they're trying to knock me offline, y'all. They hate John Boy. They hate me. Minnesota, yeah, that's a cold daggone state, Carmen. Man, I'm gonna tell you, hey, look, I met down in Pascagoula, Mississippi. I was at this bar one time. This is back in the 90s. I was kind of stranded down there. And I got to drinking with these two guys, and one of them was a lineman. He was also a full-blooded Apache Indian. And look, I caught a ride with him, right? He had an old Jeep Cherokee. The Apache did. And we're sitting there going down the road, and that joker's on the left-hand side ditch, driving through the ditch. And I'm watching the mailboxes going by. So I yelled up and tapped him on the shoulder because I was sitting behind him in the back. I go, hey, man. I go, you're in the wrong ditch. Because he was on the wrong side of the road. And I'm like, dude, you're in the wrong ditch. And that joker, while we're running through the ditch, and I don't know how we wasn't hitting the mailboxes, turned around and looked at me and said, do you want to drive this motherfucker? And I said, no, turn and drive. And man, look, it didn't work out as expected. I wound up having to walk 7 miles back to the town they took me away from. I'm telling y'all, if y'all experienced what I've experienced, man, I've lived in the Salvation Army. I had to. I got stranded, man. And that was where was that at? That was Crestview, Florida. I got stranded down there. Had to live on a river. This time of year, matter of fact, Christmas through the New Year, and then it started raining and the Black River flooded. And we had to get out of there and wound up going to a motel. And that didn't work out too good either. That was crazy. I mean, it was cool, but it was crazy because this guy was like I don't know. It was a long story. I had a chance back. Now, look, this is in the 90s. And I had this crazy ass jealous wife, right? And I needed a job. And I had 2 job openings that I could go for. One was working at a sawmill, and the other was working at a CNC machine factory that made arrows for compound bows. The 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 sawmill only paid like minimum wage, and the dadgum machinery company paid like back then. It's in the 90s. It was like $15 an hour, and minimum wage was like I think $5.25. I can't remember. It was low, six. Let's just say $6. It was something low like that. Man, it's raining. I got a '79 Trans Am T-top. Daggum T-tops are leaking. I go in the machine shop. I sit there and put out my application. Had the interview, and I guess my wife was wondering what was taking so long or whatever. But man, I'm getting an interview, right? She comes in there and she looks out in the shop door to where all the people are working in the machine shop making the arrows, and it was nothing but women. Now look, I'm not gonna cheat. I'm not even gonna think about cheating. If it was offered to me on a silver platter, I'd have to deny it. You know what I mean? That's just how I am. Because I am obligated to this one woman and only her. And I'm not going to stray from that. No matter how much, I'm just not. But anyhow, the interview is over. I had the job. We get back out in the rain. Look, it's been raining for days. We got flooded out. Look, we were camping out on a river in a daggum tent in, December, this time of year to January the 1st. And it was the coldest it was ever in Florida. It was getting down to like, 63 at night? And that was cold for Florida. But man, I wound up having to work at the sawmill. And because we worked at the sawmill, wasn't enough money to, get the hotel room good enough. I forgot how we had. But anyhow, the maintenance guy at the hotel, helped us out. He's like, well, you can stay with us. Stay with me until you get some money built up. I'm like, all right. So we go there, and this joker got stacks of porno magazines, hip hop, everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Beside the couch, beside the stove, in the bathroom. But anyhow, it's a long story. I'm not going to go any further on that one. Stay tuned to the adventures of John Boy. Now, let me check up on this chat. What have I missed? 4-level house. Man, I live in a 20 by 20 cave in the side of a hill. I don't know why I'm buffering. I shouldn't be. Yeah, exactly, Mike. That's what I'm saying. The blackouts make us use more. That's why they do it, and they act like they have to do it. That's the whole thing. It's a daggum gimmick. It's a lie. It's a narrative. They've been prepping America for rolling blackouts for decades. The time has come. Man, look, it ain't gonna be long before Putin says I've had enough and pushes the daggum red button over there. Huh? Wait a minute. You're on the UK. I don't know what KU electric. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably true because there is Southwest Electric, Chickasaw Electric, Jackson Energy Authority are all on TVA. TVA provides it. So yeah, all of Tennessee is on some form of TVA. But it's like, hey buddy, you want your own little electric company? Let me help you out. You know how it works. Look at the Twitter files. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You know what? What time is it? It's almost that gum Christmas Day, ain't it? Oh, we got another hour and 2 minutes. Yeehaw. Can I make it to Christmas Day? Because I was going to do a Christmas Day miracle. I've never wished Merry Christmas on YouTube because I don't believe in it. Look, the way I said, and look, meeting my mom, I told her, look, I called her up. I said, look, I don't usually do this, but I'm fixing to wish you a Merry Christmas. She said, well, thank you. And I go, but I don't believe in Christmas. And she was like, well, it's celebrating when Jesus was born and blah, 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 blah. I go, you know what? And she wouldn't let me get a word in edgewise, right? I'm like, if you listen to, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, look. And I finally was able to say something. And she eventually started talking over me while I was saying it. But I said, look, I said, that's the problem. I said, everybody starts thinking about Jesus around Christmas time. And I go, should be thinking about him all the time. Regardless if it's Christmas time, it should be the same strength all the time, you know. And then she told me I needed to shut up and listen to what she had to say or she was going to hang up. And I said, you know what? I'll hang up for you. That's my own mother. Do you see what I'm saying? I ain't putting up with bullshit. That's the whole problem. Bullshit. I'm tired of bullshit. I'm tired of being lied to. I'm tired of the narrative. I'm tired of this COVID bullshit. COVID's nothing. And if you look at the statistics now, people dying of COVID, the most people dying of COVID have already been vaccinated. And that's a fact. Fact checkers, YouTube, Google. It's a fact. See, I can't have my normal channel where I talk everything and anything. I'm thinking about starting up a dirt tracking channel and start dirt racing. I want to do the old, what do they call it? Damn, I can't think of the name of the class, but it's when you use old classical cars. I got like a '69 Camaro hobby car, and I want to cut the trees out around it so I can get it on a trailer. And I want to document all that, pulling it out of the woods. It was a field when I parked it, and it turned into woods. And I think, bringing a car out of the woods where you got to cut trees down, and then you got to get the car ready and get it to the track. And, I've thought about just leaving it like it is with all the moss on it. Because it's only been sitting like, I don't know, since 1996. 96, what is that? Like 24 years? No, it's been sitting longer than that. Them trees got big. I'm just rambling now, y'all. I did get to going earlier. Yeah, the blackouts. You know what I learned about the blackouts around here, though, is if you live in the area where prominent people of the town live, it don't get cut off at all. Oh, man, that's the truth. I mean, that is what I see. I'm not lying. I'm telling you what I see. So fact check that, fact checkers. Oh, you're in Florida? Man. Where I was up there in Crestview, I had to go down to, I think it was Fort Myers to get my Social Security thing because I'd lost my Social Security card. Well, my mom's the only person I have left too, and man, I tell you what, that woman is a chore. That woman thinks she can tell me to shut up and listen to what she's got to say. Well, I'm gonna tell you, my mom told me because she converted to Catholic, and she told me the reason why. Because I asked, why do y'all pray to Mary? She said, because Jesus is too busy. Look, the true God creator, the true loving God, the real God, the one that loves us, that the real God, you don't have to go through anybody to get to him. And you know what's weird? He's a him, but he's not a him. Look, I've been in his arms, man. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all what. And this goes back to 2003 when I had the deer wreck on the motorcycle. Man, I've been riding that bike for 3 years, and I was a half a mile from the house. And I was like, I've never wrapped this corner out. And I was like, you know what? Perfect day. First day of summer, June the 21st, 2003, 9:01 p.m. I done come from a Craftsman Truck Series race at Memphis Motorsports. I'm sitting there, I'm all revved up. I'm like, yeah. I got no leather on, just t-shirt and blue jeans and Timberland boots. I hit that corner doing 85 mile an hour. I thought, that might be a little too fast, but I'm still gonna make it. I'm halfway through that corner at 85 mile an hour. I'm using every bit of the other lane because it was a left-hand corner. And when I was coming out from the apex and starting to get the bike up, for the straightaway, I saw that deer look up. I was like, oh no. And then the next thing that hit me was, so this is how I'm gonna die. And I accepted it. And it was cool. It was cool. I accepted the fact I'm fixing to die because a deer jumps out in front of me on this motorcycle. And I hit that deer at 65 mile an hour. Somehow I bled 20 mile an hour off from the middle of the apex to the straightaway. And I hit that deer. That joker went into the front tire and kicked that front tire to the left real hard, which made the ass end of the bike come up. I'm still leaned in to the left, but the ass end's coming up and to the right. You know what I mean? And I saw that deer, and I saw his eye, and in his eye, I saw death, and death was me. I saw my reflection in that deer's eye, and I was a reflection of death, and it was crazy. And then I decided I need to put my right shoulder right there in its ribs behind its left front shoulder blade, because that was the only thing I thought. I mean, this stuff is like in milliseconds. That's what I'm saying. Time is an illusion. When you're in the middle of a wreck, it's like you're still, like I'm talking to y'all now, but you're making decisions in milliseconds, thinking like I'm talking now. And I thought, I got to get this right shoulder in that deer's ribs right there, because if I miss that, I'm going over its back. And I don't know, I'm on a back road. The old back roads where they put that tar down in the white gravel. Man, I hit that deer with my shoulder. Next thing I know, I feel like a little baby. And I'm cradled in the arms of my mother. But then it went from mother to, this is my creator. And I could feel entities around me. I could sense where they were at. But there was no real physical sight of them. And it felt like I was in a room, but there was no walls. And there was love everywhere. I'm talking about, it was like being in a swimming pool of love. And that love was going through me. It was alive. And it was in me. It was the greatest sensation I ever had. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to look up at who's holding me. And I started to look up, and I thought, this ain't so bad. Then the next thing I know, I'm tumbling down the road. I went 189 feet down the road. I'm still here to talk about it because I hit another deer, over a month ago in this truck at the same speed, and I do not understand how I survived. Because I see what it did to this truck, and I just don't see how I survived hitting a deer on a motorcycle. It's crazy. All right, let me catch up on this chat. Hell, I'm 54, Mike. Man, I've had so many car wrecks, motorcycle wrecks, four-wheeler wrecks. I should have been dead. I had a girl, this is back after the deer wreck. All right. This is how bad I am. After the ambulance finally got there on the deer wreck with the motorcycle, and I was in the back of the ambulance, somehow or another, my ex-girlfriend showed up, and I could hear her, Johnny, Johnny, are you okay? And I said, is that you, Barbara? And she goes, yes. I go, go home. I mean, that's terrible, ain't it? But I was done with her. See what I'm saying? I don't need her coming up because I had a daggum wreck and I'm almost dead. I didn't need her there. I go home. You know what I mean? Why are you here? We're done. We're done deal. I'm done with you because you're too worldly. That's all it wound up about. She was too worried about this world and what. I ain't even gonna get into it. But she was just too entangled in this world for me to even waste another minute. But I'm kind of glad she did wind up at the hospital. Because at one point I had to pee, and that's when I realized if your left hand gets yanked, your hand, your wrist gets yanked out of the arm bones, and it's only hanging by skin, and your other arm's so messed up, you can't really pee. You know what I'm saying? You need assistance. You need somebody to hold your urination device. And won't people look at that as a urination device instead of a daggum sex machine? All right, I done went too crazy now. I should lay off the alcohol. Alcohol is good for you. I was. Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it? I couldn't imagine getting ejected like that. Well, I mean, I got ejected off that bike, but I didn't hit no guardrail. I mean, I hit the road and I bounced. It was weird. It's like, I go, well, that wasn't so bad. Next thing I know, boom. I'm like, what the hell? And then, boom. I'm like, what's going on here? Because I was just where there's a bunch of love and I was cradled in my creator's arms. Boom. I'm like, what in the boom, 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 brrrr. Yeah. I was hitting the ground and I don't know how high in the air I was bouncing. And then I'd hit the ground and I'd bounce in the air again until finally I guess I lost enough speed that I just started barrel rolling. And I'm gonna tell you what, imagine getting a claw hammer and hitting every fingernail you got on both hands as hard as you can. And every knuckle above that. Yeah, that's what I went through. I got pounded. Crazy. Would I do it again? No. But that experience I had, I'll never forget. And that's what I'm aiming for. Because if getting out of here and understanding how to get out of here to get to that kind of love, man, I ain't never gonna lie to anybody. And I haven't in my entire life. I'm not gonna say how can I put this? I have withheld the truth to keep from people from getting hurt, but I've never lied. Does that make any sense? I have always been like driving since I was 16 and got my driver's license. I always made it a priority, no matter how fast I'm going, keep it in my lane around the curbs. You know what I mean? Because that other person meeting me head on shouldn't have to deal with me trying to cut that curve as hard as I can. You see what I'm saying? I should never impede anyone, or yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just leaving it. Yeah, I'm a '68 model. Why? Hey, check this out. You talking about a stranger holding it? I wound up with a male nurse, right? And I had to pee real bad again. And I was like, dude, I need to pee. And that joker said, okay, okay. And he rolled me to radiology where they're going to do x rays. And I was like, dude, I need to pee. And that joker took off walking. I was like, oh my goodness. Well, this young lady, she's a black girl, come out of radiology. She's a radiologist, right? And I'm like, are you a nurse? And she explained to me she wasn't and who she was. And I was like, look, I don't know what the deal is with the nurse I had, but I got pee real bad. And if you don't help me, I'm fixing to pee all over myself and this whatever they had me rolling around on. And she helped me out. And I appreciate it. I told her, thank you. You know, I know you didn't have to do that, but I do appreciate it. But that was crazy. I mean, she, mm. All right, Nurse Care Bear. Yeah, I don't lie to nobody either. Yeah, I mean, I told her, I said, I know you don't have, because she was a, I guess you consider a technician. And the technician should not have to be doing nursing practices. That's crazy. And I believe me, I didn't want that dude helping me. I really didn't. I was like, man, that's the last thing I want is a guy helping me. Because I couldn't do anything. I didn't have any hands, basically. You know what I mean? So I needed somebody to get my urinary device to the bedpan. That's crazy. And man, I ain't never been that helpless in my life. I mean, that's the last helplessness I ever been. And that taught me a lot. Just when I got out of the hospital, man, I'm gonna tell you what, I got to see what my kneecap looked like and all sorts of things. But let me tell you, I understand what handicap means now. Because when you go to have to sit down on the toilet, and you ain't got but one leg, one good leg, depends on how good that leg is how far above that toilet you're hovering before you fall down on it. Seriously. And then once you get down on that toilet and take care of your business, you got to figure out how to get up off of it. You only got one leg and it's already bent, and it ain't bent to where you can just start moving up. You got to get mass up before you can get that good leg to start levering up. Yeah, see, I look at things like that hooks, levers, waypoints. I'm just, I feel like sometimes I'm a computer. Good night, Nurse Scarabear. Well, Mike at the time, if he would have helped me, I would have, because I was fixing to pee all over myself, for real. It was either have a man help me or pee all over everything. And I was holding it as long as, because look, it was the first day of summer, but the temperature got down to like 51 degrees, and I was on a motorcycle with just a t-shirt and blue jeans, and I done drove 40 miles to get back home. I came from Memphis, I had 40 miles. I was I was froze. I didn't hardly bleed until I thawed out. And when I thawed out, man, I soaked that gum bath towels through the sheets and everything. They had to, yeah, I've ruined the mattress. I'd bleeding everywhere. I mean, arms, shoulders, elbows, wrists, knees, ankles. I was rolling down a road at like, you know, 40 mile an hour maybe. I bled off. I mean, I hit the deer at 65, so I don't know how fast I was going when I hit the deer. My face went to the pavement first, and I felt the helmet. Luckily I had a full face helmet because the chin took all the blunt. Because my chin went over the deer's back, and the helmet hit my. I felt it hit my tooth. That was the first feeling I felt was the tooth, and the second feeling was my knee, and then after that I was in heaven, and I don't know. But that ties in a lot of stuff. Because when I was up there, there's this blue light, and it reminded me of that blue light and it was the same year. This was weird. In February, I saw this triangle craft over my neighbor's house, and in June of that same year, that same blue light was over me. So I'm just wondering if it was that same triangle craft, and it sat there. I mean, look, I'm telling you, I see these black triangle shapes in the sky. They stacked to infinity one time in a video, but I'm just wondering because they can be instant. They're like they know what time that they get. Like it's like they got an alert that this has happened, so they went back in time fractions of a second to catch me during a critical part of that crash and protect me from that deadly part of that crash to spare my life, and then let me out there to where it looks like, oh, he survived a deer wreck. You know, I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird. I think this is the most I ever talk about that. Duh. I wouldn't have bled out. I just would have bled a lot at the time. No, my core body temperature is probably look. I'm telling you, drive 40 miles on a motorcycle with just a t-shirt and blue jeans on, and it's 51 degrees at night. I was trying to get home as quick as I could because I was tired of the cold. You know what I mean? Man, I didn't mean to go live this long. How long have I been live? Oh, hour and 45. What time is it? Is it Christmas Day yet? Damn. We still got like 35 minutes to Christmas Day. One Christmas I put up insulation in my shop. There's been a couple Christmases I do. I just do stuff. I'm like, you know what? I appreciate Jesus coming here to this earth and sitting there showing me how to live the life to make it to heaven, and that's to love others and always speak the truth. And that's what I do. I try to love others, and I always speak the truth unless I find out I said something thinking it was the truth, then I'm gonna let you know. But I try not to say something until I know. I don't know where I went with that, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. Oh, man, I'm tired. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Yeah, I don't know. Jay Ferris in the house. I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Well, Merry Christmas, Mike. It's Christmas time on the East Coast. Well, that's the whole deal, Mike. That's how I see it. Jay Ferris now. Thank you for loving me. When are we going to change your name from Jay Ferris to Jay Boy? No, I'm joking. Oh, I've been into the wild turkey, by the way, so you got to excuse me. Oh, well, I did say, I don't know what the time was when I did get to spitting out some crazy stuff. I was kind of listening to me. I was like, man, no, seriously. Sometimes when it starts coming out of my mouth, I'm like, where is this coming from? I mean, I'm in here thinking, like, what? Because it's just, it's built up for so long. I've been biting my tongue for so long. But all I'm saying is what I've come to my own conclusion of. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that's how I feel like it is. And the whole deal, it don't matter if it is what it is. As long as we finally realize that we are, how am I trying to put this? If we can be the most truthful, loving person there is, then we're out of here. I mean, it's kind of that simple. We got to figure out, and I already know there ain't nothing here makes me want to stay here. If I had a chance to come back a million times, I'm not gonna come back once. You know what I mean? I don't want to ever come back here ever again, ever. I'm done with this place. I'm done. I've had enough. This shit don't make no sense. I mean, I just don't understand anymore. I mean, what can I say? I wonder if those coats ever thawed out. Hang on. Man, that's daggum. I put my coats outside because I needed the temperature to drop. But dad gum, who would have ever thought a coat would freeze solid in like, I don't know, 12 hours, less than 12 hours. All right, what I missed? Yeah, I went kind of crazy earlier. Oh, Jay, you're taking? Okay. No, I was kidding you. I like being single because I, I'm not even gonna go there. Not even gonna go there. But I know that daggone TV won't keep accepting nothing. You know what's weird is where I live at. If I believe on the scale of asteroids and meteorites and stuff like that hitting, then I live in the middle of a crater and I've got an asteroid in the center of my property. Just looking at how the terrain is, you know what I mean? That gun watch woman, you know what? There's applesauce. Oh, applesauce. I miss you, applesauce. You know what? Since I got you in the chat, I gotta put you on the spot. Let's do a live stream together, applesauce. Me and you on a panel, and let's just sit there and look at all this stuff that I've found. And I'm pretty sure you've done a little editing. You just you haven't posted anything in over 2 years, probably 3 years now. But I still love you, applesauce. It's good to see your name in here again. Applesauce would look, Mike. I'm gonna tell you, applesauce. If I had a won the election, would have been our first lady. Man, that's been a while. Been a while. Look, watch Woman of the Dragon. I am the best sleep channel on YouTube. I put more people to sleep. You just don't realize the comments I get over the years. I'm sorry I fell asleep. Oh, I was listening, but I woke up later. I mean, come on. I put everybody to sleep. You know why? Because I'm telling the truth, and that dadgum demon out there is putting sand in y'all's eyes. That's what's going on. It's not really me doing it. It's it's the daggum Sandman doing it. And there's a reason why I grew up knowing about the Sandman. The Sandman puts sand in your eyes to make them heavy so you go to sleep. It's not me. That's my enemy doing that to you. I was just crazy. Yeah, it's all exhausting. Not silly. Yes, my soothing voice. Hey, applesauce, did you see that video where I was filming that Black Panther's den and you could hear it growling? My ears have gotten bad. I heard something one time and I passed it off as some redneck in a glass back truck or a trucker jack brakes or an airplane somewhere because I was down in the halls in the valleys. You know what I mean? But there is a Black Panther that I have seen several times. I've got other people that have seen it several times. And I've asked a lot of people, and if they hadn't seen it, they've heard of somebody that had seen it. And the thing lives in between two temple mounds. And the crazy thing is, the location of where they are from me, I know I can film in the sky above that and catch stuff manifesting. That's what's so weird. And look, I mean, I can't remember the river now. I called it the Cumberland, but it ain't Cumberland. It was, but anyhow, Tennessee Valley Authority, Mike knows about this. The first dam they built was to hide the daggum Egyptian temples they found on the, can't remember the name of that river right now, it saved my life. But there's Egyptian artifacts here in eastern Tennessee. Well, I'm in West Tennessee. But 50 miles from me in Alabama, there's a cave called Dust Cave. And they have investigated it, or archaeologists did it, and decided there was human activity there 25,000 years ago. All right, if there's human activity 25,000 years ago, 50 miles from my location, they were here. And I got evidence of it. And that's what's so crazy. And look, I know I made a comment about people and webcams, so I'm not knocking webcams. But if that's all you're doing all the time, I mean, you kind of got a connection, but you ain't got the full connection. You get that full connection when you're out there with it. You know what I mean? When you're out there one on one with what's up in that sky, and it's reading your thoughts, but you can read its thoughts. You see what I'm saying? And you make it manifest more, or you can make it hide more. You know, I mean, I try to piss it off. Pissing it off makes it not want to hide. You know, I'm not going to, I want to make it mad because I'm more powerful than it and all of them combined. They can combine as one whole, and I got more power because there's no way you can ever stomp out truth and love. There's no way you can ever stomp out truth and love. There's no way. Truth and love is the rock. And that rock is the foundation which you build everything upon. And everything you're building upon, the foundation of truth and love is truth and love. And people don't understand that. They think you got to put 10% in the plate. You got to do 15 Hail Marys. And you got to do somersaults. Dadgum counterclockwise on, the third Sunday of the month. I mean, come on. I mean, I shouldn't even be on. I shouldn't even be on the daggum World Wide Web at this time. Because my Russian friends are probably going, oh, the John Boy is crazy. And my Indian friends are probably going, oh, John Boy is crazy. See, I'm not using the actual accents because I don't want to get classified as doing something hateful. Excuse-moi. Oh, I've been missing the chat. Applesauce, I'm not silly. I'm for real. If you'd marry me, I'd marry you. That's crazy. Mike, what's wrong with you if you ain't never fell asleep? Oh, I know, yeah, applesauce. Applesauce, I sure miss, talking to you. You had the sweetest voice. It was just your voice. That's what I'm saying. Me and you on. Look, I'm telling you, man. Look, applesauce. If I can figure out some way to delete whatever video I don't really want to delete, and I can get StreamYard going, man, be a panel co-host or something, and let's just have an open topic about what's going on and what we're seeing. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a spiritual war. It's the reason. See, that's the whole thing. Look, you get these, and I'm not knocking Christians and stuff like that, but what I'm saying is, you get these people that call themselves Christians. They can't believe what we're showing them in the sky because they don't believe in this dimensional conspiracy theory. But in reality, isn't God dimensional? And in the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call him, in the realm that God's in, which is dimensional, I mean, one and one is two, unless you want to consider it racist. I mean, that's the whole problem we got. Hang on. I don't know what the hell. I heard something outside, but I guess it's alright. Alright, where was I at? What was I talking about? See, that's the whole problem with me. I can't keep a train of thought. Yeah, Jay Perry, I love nature and all. Man, I've held hummingbirds in my hands. I'm gonna tell you, that's like holding nothing. They got the biggest wings I ever seen for nothing. I mean, they don't even weigh. I don't even know. They feel like a feather, man. You don't even feel them in your hands. I had to save one time. I don't know how long it got trapped down that square tubing, but I had to fish it out. And when I got it out, man, it looked like it was just fixing to die. I don't know how long it had been stuck in there. I put it on my finger and I put it up to the hummingbird feeder, and that thing started drinking, and it kept drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking, and that sucker, I could see the life going back into it. And then it sat there and it blew off my finger. Then it come around and it got by my ear, and then it kind of went, when it zoomed off, it said, "Thank you." It was weird, but it said, "Thank you." For real. I've heard animals talk. Yeah, see, religion, it's kind of weird. I don't know how to. I think what I'm saying is somebody thought they figured out a perfect plan to sit there and beat the system, so they invented religion. And if you can follow religion to the T, it it will get you there. But if you can't follow it to the T, you won't get there. And I think that was just a theory somebody came up with and started a practice to try to sit there. And if you can live by those rules, you can get to heaven. But in reality, all you need is truth and love. You know what I mean? And if you got truth and love, you don't need religion because you're already living it. I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense or not. But if you got truth and love in you, then you're not harming anyone and you're causing a benefit for anyone that encounters you unless they're not with truth and love. And then you got a problem. I mean, that's just, it's the yin yang, the snake eating the tail. That's what all that's about. Good and evil. Snake eating the tail. I mean, come on. Oh, man. I don't think I should have had that last little thing up. Wild Turkey 101. Hang on, hang on. I'm trying to catch up on the chat, y'all. Who appreciated me? Applesauce? I can't. Okay. Man, I didn't know I got this far behind. Well, truth and love means, love means you're going to tell the truth, and truth means you're going to love, right? I mean, I don't know. Man, it's like 12 minutes to Christmas time that I don't celebrate. And last year at this time, I was making spirits. I mean, hand sanitizer. But it wasn't near this cold. That's the whole thing. Everything froze up on me, man. I'm like, damn, that gum. What do I have to snack on? I got some sort of red, green, and white popcorn. Look, y'all. I don't think I'm gonna make it to Christmas. So let me go ahead and tell y'all, hey, look. Y'all do what y'all do, and I'm gonna do what I do. And y'all enjoy doing what you do. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. And I'll holler at y'all later. And applesauce, don't be a stranger. Give me a holler. I still got the same number. Y'all take it easy.